Hey, it's Jael from Cell-Based Nutrition, and today we're going to talk about rest and why sometimes it can feel unsafe to slow down. So earlier I posted a short regarding rest, and even though it shouldn't feel scary, it often does. Now this goes for people who have had a sudden change in their bodies and their health and are new to chronic illness and living with chronic pain, as well as those of us who have lived with it for either a long time or lifelong conditions. Our nervous system is very much used to what is normal for it. It likes regularity, familiarity, it likes predictability. And so the idea of slowing down, the idea of maybe stopping, the idea of changing feels very scary from a nervous system perspective. Even when doing, the constant performing, the constant movement is painful, our minds will still tell us that if we can still do or perform at the level that we did prior to becoming ill or prior to a decrease in function, then that's some sort of normality, and we still have some control and some independence despite our conditions. And that's quite a normal, protective outlook, but it's one that can be quite damaging, especially if you continue pushing yourself past your new normal, your new boundaries, your new capabilities, and then you find yourself in more pain, in pain more frequently. The severity of your pain, so your pain scale level goes up, and also the fatigue and the burnout that comes with overdoing and overperforming. And I'm not saying it is easy coming to terms with some limits. I'm not saying it's easy having to recognize that despite your best intentions, your body physically can't do some of the things that you want it to do or when you want it to be done. But if we don't accept our new limits, we are just building up problems for the future. Energy management is very important when it comes to living with chronic illnesses, and being fatigued and burnt out, either mentally or actual physically, where you physically are exhausted, is only going to drive pain, drive inflammation, and drive stress in our body, which will only make our long-term conditions worse. But slowing down does trigger a lot of emotions, sadness for the life that you're no longer able to live, guilt for having to ask for more help, needing more support, relying on people to assist you for things, shame, especially if you need assistance around personal care. You feel like you're letting people down, whether it's having to reduce work, or the type of work that you do, or the amount of work that you do. It comes with a whole host of emotions, which I really want to name and give you the space to start thinking about and processing and admitting. For a lot of us, saying these things out loud almost feels defeatist, but it's the start of your acceptance journey. Let's talk about fear. It can be really scary to live in a body that doesn't do the things that you want it to do or that it used to do. There is a fear that comes with thinking about what the prognosis is, what the future is going to be like. Is it always going to be this bad? Is it going to get worse? How worse is it going to get? That fear of losing part of yourself and the things that used to make up your life. There is a fear that if you stop and slow down and rest, that your body will never be able to pick up steam again, that you won't be able to shift gear again. And that may be true depending on the condition that you have, but sometimes when our bodies are really depleted and they need rest, when we are able to rest restoratively and our bodies are able to heal and strengthen somewhat, then some degree of functionality, of course, and some degree of energy is possible to be regained. Sometimes we think that if we push through, that this episode, flare up, crisis, whatever the terminology is for your particular condition, it will pass. I used to do this a lot when I was teaching. I would feel fear of calling in sick, fear of being seen as weak or not able. And I would push myself through weeks, through half terms, because I felt that even taking a day off would result in a crash. And what happened? I spent the vast majority of the school holidays in hospital, because what you don't pay now, you pay later. And my body did crash, and it would crash for long periods of time. And I look back and I wonder, why I treated my body so badly at the height of the worst of my condition. There aren't any participation trophies for pushing through pain. There isn't a scepter and a crown. And your workplaces, maybe even your family and friends, aren't necessarily going to appreciate it in years to come. You know, I look back at the way that I used to treat my body, how I used to force my body, and I have a lot of regret about that. I made a lot of things worse, and I didn't receive any benefits from it. At the time, I thought I was protecting my job. And as you would have heard me discuss in previous videos, that wasn't the case either. And so I only ended up harming myself on several fronts, trying to pretend to be able-bodied when I'm not. And it's that, you know, underlying ableism and internalized ableism that we need to be mentally strong enough to reject and not adhere to and perform. Many of us were also praised for our doing. I've talked before about us being useful and performing function and the roles that we hold in our lives. And there may be an element of feeling some guilt for no longer being able to be that role or that thing, or being able to be that constant in other people's lives. Guilt is not a moral failing. It's a normal emotion when it comes to living with chronic pain and chronic illness. It's something that we need to cycle through because, you know, there are different phases of these emotions. You know, sometimes we can have like a superficial understanding, and then as we continue to live with our pain, we can start having deeper revelations of where these emotions are coming from. We feel that we are letting people down. We feel that if we can no longer perform the roles that were expected of us or were assigned to us or were self-assigned, that we're letting people down. And we have to understand that life is always moving and always changing, and people are able to adapt, and people are able to make space. And I would urge the people who are listening to take up that space, and to take accommodations when you can, to push for the adjustments that you need, and of course to ask and to take and receive support when you need it. And this is difficult because there's an element of identity loss that comes with a lack of, or a decrease in our functionality, especially in the realm of, say, movement. If you live with a chronic pain condition or chronic illness that restricts your ability to move, your joints, your limbs, it can sort of create a reshaping in our minds of who are we now, and a comparison of what our normal looks like now and what our normals looked like previously. We all have a story that we tell ourselves about who we are. Some of us are the reliable one, the strong one, the problem-solving one, the capable one. And when your body changes to the point where you can't perform those roles, we have a sense of loss. But we can write new stories, and we can create new narratives. And we can also let go of things that no longer serve us. The point is that without restorative rest, the point is without proper energy management, the point is that without sleep hygiene, without self-care, that our conditions are going to be made prematurely worse. And so we owe it to ourselves to work through these feelings of guilt, shame, identity loss, fear, so that we can prioritize ourselves, so that we can give ourselves the best fighting chance to have as healthy a life as we can within our new limitations and capabilities. This is a process of unlearning. You're unlearning survival strategies that have seen you in good stead. They have worked for you. But now we need new survival strategies. We need new coping mechanisms. I've spoken before that support is the answer to a lot of the issues that we have. And I would recommend, if I can, that if you are not receiving support, especially psychological and mental health support, that you reach out for some. I know that accessing talking therapy is not easy. There are long NHS waiting lists. Going private is an expense that many of us can't afford. But if you are able to find a support group, ask your GP to refer you for talking therapies. Maybe there is some sort of psychology program through your hospital department, through your consultant, your specialist. Some way of you being able to process through these emotions so that they are not causing hurdles in the management of your condition. If this resonates with you and you know that you need some support, I will be opening in the spring a cohort of my pain and fatigue liberation method. This is a group, it's a group program where I will be teaching from a complementary therapy, an alternative medicine, and naturopathic perspective, using my training in nutrition and naturopathic therapies to give you extra techniques, extra methodologies to help reduce the intensity and the frequency of pain that you experience, and also ways to improve your energy metabolism so that fatigue can be mitigated somewhat. I'm really excited about this program. Naturopathic nutrition has really helped me in terms of managing the frequency of my pain crises. I haven't been hospitalized for a sickle cell crisis in 7 years. And that's not to say that I don't have pain episodes. I do. And I also have osteoarthritis and neuropathy, so I am in daily chronic pain, daily and persistent. But in terms of where my health was 10 years ago, my ability to cope is a lot better by the implementation of the strategies that I want to share with you and teach you about. So I am working frantically on creating the landing page so that you have all of the information about what the course consists of, when it's going to start, etc. I am a solopreneur at the moment, and doing this and living with chronic pain and chronic illnesses means that I can't bring things out as quickly as I would like. But absolutely, in the next few weeks, you would be able to click the link in the bio and decide if that cohort is something that you want to be a part of. So I'm Jael from Cell-Based Nutrition. It has been lovely talking to you. It would really help the growth of my channel if you could like and subscribe and share this video with either other people who are living with chronic pain, or if these are conversations that you wish that you could have with friends or family, but you haven't been able to vocalize. So if I've said anything that you wish that you could have said, you can sort of like clip it and send it to people who need to hear it. As always, it has been lovely speaking to you, and I want you to remember that your body isn't broken. Your cells are just undernourished. And I will see you in the next video.